My name is Freen Radigan, and I'm an electrical engineer. I deal with the city traffic signals and electrical signs, and sometimes perform electrical inspections. I'm an avid reader. In fact, my husband bought me the book For Whom the Bell Tolls, written by Ernest Hemingway. It's about the Spanish Civil War. I really wanted to see the cities described in the novel. I wanted to visit Spain because I had this picture in my head of raging bulls and dancing senoritas, but I know that's not realistic. So I wanted to meet the real people of Spain. I decided in order to experience the real Spanish flavor, I would visit northern Spain, which is known as the Basque region. The Basque region comprises provinces in Spain that were once linked to areas in France. The Basque people are the oldest traceable ethnic group in Europe, and they have their own language, government, and unique culture. Even their style of dress is unique, especially the men who wear berets. I met my guide Siggy. He was a young man who knew a lot about the Basque region. He wanted to first show me a symbol of Basque heritage in the city of Guernica.
Well, this is now the spiritual home of the Basque people. This is the assembly house of Guernica and also the old oak tree of Guernica. Mm-hmm. For ages, during centuries, even before we had the first written documents, our Basque people spread out in the provinces of Basque and Gipuzkoa, they used to hold their meetings under a tree, under an oak tree like this one here. And they maintained this kind of tradition. And back during the 19th century, this assembly house was built so as to celebrate here the meetings to discuss political problems and problems that they had in common, different villages all around Biscay, the province of Biscay.
I believe there was a time when you weren't allowed to have your own government.
That's right. That was after the Spanish Civil War. We were about to obtain our Statute of Autonomy at the beginning of the 30s, the 1930s, but then the Spanish Civil War broke out in 1936. And after 3 years of civil war, he was the one who won, General Franco. So during those 40 years, he suppressed not only Basque culture and Basque language, but also the right to have our own parliament, our own institutions to make up decisions and to make up rules or laws.
So the Basque people have their own government and they're autonomous now?
In any of our 3 little provinces, we have our own parliament, like this one here. But this one here, apart from being the Parliament of Biscay, it's also the spiritual home of the whole Basque people because of that history about the tree.
Now that you have autonomy, why are there still people who want to separate?
It has to do with the past. I mean, as we have a different past, a different history and a different culture, our own language and so on, what they want is to obtain a higher level of autonomy that would turn into a different nation.
Would that require another civil war?
No, I don't think so. In my opinion, I mean, though these days you can get sometimes in our cities people demonstrating what they feel about this political problem, I don't think that another civil war is about to begin. It's just, well, time will tell who has the right, or time will tell who wins this battle, but I don't think that a new civil war is likely to happen.
Spain's civil war was in the past, but I was still interested in Spain's early history. So we visited the Santa Maria Cathedral with its relics of an earlier time. The cathedral was crumbling and under restoration when they discovered ancient bodies buried beneath the foundation. So this is a Catholic cathedral?
Yeah, this is a sick building. This is the cathedral we are trying to restore.
Are you talking about that big crack here?
Yeah. This crack maybe comes from the 16th century. It has too much weight on.
Yeah, the building itself has too much weight on it.
Yeah. It seems to be like an enormous stone flower opening because the weight on.
That's a beautiful analogy for something that's not good at all.
Well, is not good enough because it's a little bit dangerous, but we can manage. We are trying to restore it. It's opening up.
Now, how old is this cathedral?
They began to build this in 1200, and they finished about the last years of the 14th century. And from that time, all the cathedral was opening. Too much weight.
So you started restoring it, and that's when you found the bones?
Yes, when we started restoring the cathedral, we knew that we should find plenty of bones because people were buried inside the church. And we found them. We found the history of Vitoria, we found the history of this cathedral, because that bones, the meaning are like documents that explains to us the history around this cathedral.
So hopefully we can have the archaeologists show us the bones.
Yeah.
Outside, a team of archaeologists were excavating the bones. They were the bones of ancient Christians buried in or near the church. These are full bodies.
Yes, full. It is all full of bodies.
And how old are these bodies here?
These bodies were 700 years old. Yes.
700 years old?
700 years old, yes. From the 14th, 13th century.
So now how were they buried? Were they buried in caskets or were they buried in cloth?
No, some of them were buried in box, and another just with cloth.
Now can you tell the sex of these?
Well, right now I don't know. Probably women, but we can tell the sex sure after we make a most deep study in the lab. We have a record system very complete. We have the body draw it three-dimensionally in the computer, and we make a lot of photographs, digital photograph and slides. We can tell even what he did during his life, not the job of the people.
Wow.
Yeah, the different kind of jobs, of physical jobs.
That sounds very interesting.
Yes, to me, yes.
We were careful where we walked because there were bodies everywhere. In those times, Christians were buried facing east towards Jerusalem. Because there was so much work to be done, I decided to give them a hand. It was a very detailed and painstaking process. Tons of dirt had to be shoveled and sifted through. It was hard work, so I think I'll stick to being an engineer. After the cathedral, Ziggy took me to a gastronomic society. This is a type of club where men cook for one another, and sometimes women are not allowed. So what is it you have planned for me tonight?
We're visiting a gastronomic society, so-called Choco.
And what do they do there?
You'll see it in a moment, but it's just all about men cooking.
Men cooking?
Yeah.
I like seeing that.
Unbelievable.
Había quedado con este señor para comer.
Hola! What are you guys doing?
They are cooking, they are preparing our dinner.
Smells good.
Yes, I think it's going to be very nice.
Yeah,
Very
there's
nice.
mushrooms with little slices of onion.
That's it.
They will be accompanying the sticks.
Oh, steaks.
Going to eat it with the sticks.
How many times do you meet as a society?
Probably once or twice. What we do normally is on Friday or sometimes on Sunday.
And there's only men.
But the tradition is that only men meet themselves here, in places that here.
Do you call your women to clean up as well?
No.
You don't call your wives to come clean it up?
No. That's forbidden. That's forbidden.
So you're saying this is a society only for men to cook, but if a woman is stupid enough to actually show up, then hey. You know what? I don't usually cook at home, so hey, this is definitely a very special occasion. After cooking, it was time to eat, and we sure had a lot to eat. After dinner, they critiqued the food and the chef, so thankfully no one commented on my cooking skills or lack of cooking skills. I think to them, I just became one of the guys, and Spain seemed like my kind of place. Continuing on my trip to the Basque region of Spain with my guide Siggy, we decided to tour the countryside. As I'd already experienced modern Spain, I wanted to see the more traditional side. Oh, that looks interesting. I wonder what he's doing.
Let's ask.
Okay.
Hola.
Hola.
¿Qué está haciendo?
Aquí, escobas de berrejo.
Oh.
This is the a kind of traditional broom. We might see,
Traditional Basque broom?
not necessarily Basque. I mean, we get those kind of brooms everywhere in Spain.
Okay.
We could see how it makes them in his studio.
Can you ask him how he makes
Why
it?
not? ¿Puede enseñarnos cómo las hace en su cuarto?
Sí,
¿Podemos
Sí.
pasar dentro para verlo?
sí.
Oh, great.
Okay,
Thank you.
he's showing us how to
Okay.
how he deals with this.
So, what is this that he's starting out with?
¿Cómo va a empezar a hacerlo?
Esto lo reformo a mano, así la cantidad que va a ser. Le pongo la cantidad y luego la ato en la máquina.
Vale, so he says that first of all he take a portion of those bushes and that will do for one of its drums. It's a kind of bush which grows over there, over those mountains.
Oh, so there's brushes that grow in the mountain.
That's right.
So now he's putting them together and he's going to make a broom out of them.
He's just trying to perform in the actual shape of the broom.
Okay.
And now he's ready to do so.
So he has the twine on this treadle and he unwinds it and onto
right,
that. Okay.
yeah. So he takes whichever quantity it needs.
Okay. That's a good idea. This is a traditional Basque craft.
Me pregunta a ver si este trabajo es tradicional de aquí, es típico.
Sí,
típicamente.
sí. Esto es típico. Esto se ha gastado mucho se ha gastado.
Pero en esta zona de Álava, ¿verdad?
No, en toda España se ha
Entonces, so
gastado.
he says that it's not just originally from here, but everywhere in Spain.
So how did he learn how to do it?
Padre lo aprendió de otros que hacían aquí. Y a continuación lo aprendí yo de mi padre toda la vida.
So he says that his grandfather just learned by watching the others, but the one who taught him how to do it was his father, but the grandfather just learned by himself.
Okay, so
On
his grandfather taught his father, who taught him. Have you taught your son how to make it?
¿Y usted a sus hijos les ha enseñado a hacer esto también?
No, yo soy soltero
No, he's a single man.
Soy soltero,
You're
pero
a single man.
Yeah, he has no children.
So this tradition's going to be lost then. You
That's
know what?
right.
I'm going to leave Ziggy here and you teach him how to do it and he'll continue on the tradition.
Okay, that's a good idea. Good. Okay, yeah, I fancy
You're not
that.
going to repeat that?
Yeah, it's a good job. I'll make money doing so.
He did everything by hand using simple tools. So I was very surprised to learn how many brooms he was able to make in a day.
bueno, pues va sobre unas 30 o así.
So, yeah, more or less 30 or 40 per day.
30 or
Yeah.
40, that's a lot.
¿Ya está?
Bueno, pues ya está.
Okay, over. It's
Oh,
finished.
so he's finished. You know what? Actually, it looks like
Sure.
one of those brooms that witches ride on.
Yeah.
This is perfect. Oh, I can't wait to try this broom now. Huh?
Well, that's your opportunity, your 15 minutes of glory.
Oh, I don't do this at home, you know, and I don't do this for just anybody.
Do it now.
This works pretty good. I think this is man's work, isn't it? Because I'm out here doing this. It seems funny in this day and age when you could just buy a broom, there's still someone making brooms by hand. But this was the uniqueness of Spain, the old mixed with the new. We were driving through the mountains and we saw all these sheep. So we went in search of the owner, who ended up being a shepherd who had started doing this when he was 15. How many sheep do you have?
¿Cuántas ovejas tienes?
700.
Just here they are 700.
700 here? Do you have more than the 700?
¿Tienes más que estas?
Sí.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he has more.
Now, do you do this full time?
¿Lo haces, te dedicas solamente a esto?
Sí, bueno, y a las viñas también. Pero sí.
And he works here and also with the wine jars.
He's here and
He
All
also has wine jars.
oh, you have vineyards as well.
Yeah.
Well, this is the region for it. Did you learn this from your father or is something you started yourself?
trabajo lo aprendiste de tu padre, de alguien de tu familia?
Sí, de mi padre.
Yeah, he learned that from his father.
Shepherd had a dog and a donkey. Okay. I'm not edible, you know. I'm definitely not edible. And the dog was amazing. Can you show us how he uses his dog to move the sheep? He helped to herd the sheep in different directions. All the shepherd had to do was move his hands, and the dog would run after the sheep and move the sheep in any direction the shepherd wanted. That dog is smarter than most people I know. I hope you get fed well tonight. You think the dog would listen to me if I sent it off?
You only have to move your hands, he will do it.
Okay, well, let's see.
¿Lo puede intentar ella?
No, pero no lo va a hacer.
He's not, the dog isn't gonna listen to me.
He doesn't know you, so he's not going to pay attention on you.
Okay, well, that's a pretty smart dog then. Then they herded the sheep up this hill with the donkey in the lead and the dog at the back. And we thought since we'd already held him up from dinner that we'd help them along. It was a very hard life for him. He didn't want his son to become a shepherd. He wanted his son to do anything else except herd sheep. Not far from the shepherd was the main wine region in the area. Inez brought me there to meet with a very interesting man who made homemade wine. Go ahead. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh. He showed us how to cut the grapes using these 100-year-old cutting instruments. Then I was happy I didn't actually end up breaking one of these.
This knife is very old. It's
Very old. I had my tetanus shot not too long ago.
Suave,
Softly,
suave.
softly, and now it's your turn.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. So we'll hang on to the grapes like that. Okay.
Corta muy bien. Yup.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then lay it in the basket.
Yeah, we have quite a lot.
So how many baskets would it take to make one bottle of wine?
Pues 12.
With this basket, you can do 12 bottles.
12 bottles of wine.
Esto no está llena, claro.
With one of these, plenty of them, of grapes, you have 12 bottles.
4 for me, 4 for you, 4 for you. Okay. So what do we do next?
Now we go to the wine cellar for the fermentation to taste the wine.
Okay, let's go. Then he took us back to his place where he showed us the process of how the grapes were pressed.
You know what is next? Now
What?
you have to take off your shoes, go down and step the grapes.
No,
sure,
I don't
let's go,
believe
let's
you.
go.
No, I don't
No.
believe it.
Yeah.
I think we should try to have him do it by himself.
No, we have to do it.
The farmer had an old-fashioned grape presser that he loaded with grapes. And then he actually got in and pressed the grapes with his feet. Well, I wasn't sure I wanted to drink the wine after seeing that, but they finally persuaded me to try pressing the grapes. It was very hard work, and the grapes were squishing through my toes and they were cold. Oh, I think it'd be easier to go to the grocery store. After I finished pressing them with my feet, he tried to persuade me to actually try some of the end results. I declined. At the end, we did have a big party with some of his neighbors where we drank some wine and he sang some traditional Basque songs. What did I say? What is that he's holding there? No. He had this crazy instrument that looked like a big glass bowl that he used to pour the wine down his mouth and past his nose. And he wanted me to try it, and I did. You know, I have no hand-to-eye coordination. Now it's going to be hand-to-mouth. Yep, I was lucky enough I got it into my mouth and none on my clothing. And we continued to sing the night away.
bla, 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 bla. I got them. Le gusta el vino, es un animal, es un animal, es un animal. A few more bottles of this and I'll have it down pat.
On the last day of my trip to the Basque region of Spain, Ziggy and I drove into the countryside. It was a holiday, and many of the towns had celebrations featuring traditional Basque culture. In the first town we visited, we came across a band parading through the streets. They used drums and flutes, and this was a way of calling all the townspeople to Mass.
Hau nere odolaren kaliza data, itun berri eta betikoaren odola.
As we left the church, we came upon a demonstration of Basque dancing. Most of the participants were young boys and girls. This was a prelude to the huge fiesta that was about to take place. And it was amazing fun. There were giant puppets. There was dancing in the street. There were kids running around in costumes. I was standing at the side of the road and I was dragged into the crowd and I was dancing down the street. It was amazing fun. My thoughts are now of Spain and their fiesta. And when I think of Spain again, this is what I'll remember. I feel I've learned a lot about the Basque tradition and beliefs. They're proud of being Basque, and they are unique within Spain, and they really go out of their way to show their uniqueness. This ideal I had in my mind of beautiful senoritas and dashing senor was very true. I found that I met quite a few people who met that ideal, but in a modern way. Ernest Hemingway wrote another book about Spain called The Sun Also Rises. I guess it's another book I'll have to read, then I'll just have to head back to Spain.